In 1986, the U.S. Navy lost contact with an experimental submarine during a standard deep ocean survey. There was no distress call, no explosion, and no debris left behind. It simply vanished from every sonar screen. After 6 months of sweeping the grid, the military declared the mission a total loss. 42 sailors were officially listed as dead, leaving behind nothing but their service records and photographs. 40 years later, a commercial cargo ship crossing the North Pacific detected a repeating emergency broadcast. The signal was matched precisely to the missing submarine. By all known engineering standards, the beacon's battery should have drained to zero decades ago, yet the transmission was broadcasting loud and clear, requesting immediate rescue every 30 seconds. The ocean was returning a distress call powered by a dead battery, originating from a vessel that legally ceased to exist 40 years earlier. A naval recovery team arrived at the coordinates by sunrise and found the submarine floating perfectly upright. The hull had zero rust or environmental damage. The gray paint looked freshly applied, as if it had rolled out of the shipyard that exact week. The hatch opened from the inside, and all 42 missing sailors climbed onto the deck. They looked exactly as they did in their 1986 service photos. Not a single crew member had aged a day. Examinations found no trace of radiation, no latent disease, no suspended animation. Despite the 40-year gap, the crew showed the same physiological state they possessed when they first departed. While the rest of the world had moved forward by 4 decades, every sailor on board insisted they had been submerged for exactly 6 hours. To find the discrepancy, investigators downloaded the onboard navigation computer. This graph plots the submarine's recorded depth over time. It shows a perfectly standard dive profile right up until the end, where the line suddenly spikes straight vertically, crossing above the 0-meter sea level mark. The system logged their final position at -11 meters. The submarine was physically submerged in deep water, yet the navigation computer recorded its location as 11 meters above the surface. This specific metric, an impossible position above sea level while remaining underwater, is the negative depth anomaly. To figure out what happened at those exact coordinates, the military sent a surface research vessel back to the site. During the day, they found nothing but standard open ocean. That changed as soon as the sun set. As the daylight faded, a secondary ocean slowly began to materialize directly beneath the first, acting like a massive mirror hidden beneath the waves. The physics of this hidden ecosystem operated entirely in reverse. Ships drifted upside down along the barrier, and marine life swam through what appeared to be a subterranean sky. Resting quietly beneath that secondary surface, waiting directly below the original vessel's location, was an identical, duplicate submarine. The negative depth coordinate represents a navigable threshold to an ecosystem operating under inverted physical laws. That same night, the youngest recovered sailor slipped out of naval quarantine. Security cameras tracked him walking calmly to the edge of the harbor and stepping directly into the water. Instead of sinking, he caught traction on the water's surface. He continued walking steadily downward into the deep, as if navigating a set of invisible stairs built into the water itself. The rescue team deployed underwater drones to follow him. The camera feeds transmitted clear images of a sprawling, populated city stretching across the ocean floor. Thousands were walking peacefully through glowing streets, and none of them were wearing diving gear. Right at the center of this underwater city stood a massive clock tower, with its hands rotating strictly counterclockwise. This diagram shows how the clock's movement is mechanically linked to a population counter on the tower's face. Every time the minute hand completes a full revolution backward, the population counter drops by 1. These mechanical shifts correspond to the exact moments individuals on the surface world are reported missing. Reviewing the footage, the recovered captain recognized the city immediately. He told the investigators, "We never got lost, we crossed." These coordinates act as an active temporal displacement zone, rather than a simple geographical location. Government officials moved immediately to contain the situation. They ordered all drone footage destroyed on site and placed the entire recovered crew into permanent isolated quarantine. Every reference to the negative depth incident was systematically scrubbed from public naval records. 1 year later, the military attempted a second investigation. They deployed an autonomous, AI-driven research vessel into the exact same waters, removing human pilots to avoid the risks of the anomaly. The vessel functioned exactly as designed for 7 continuous hours. Then it compiled one final, unprompted report and transmitted it back to the control room. The strategic logic was to utilize artificial intelligence to bypass the biological and temporal vulnerabilities that had affected the crew of the original submarine. The AI's final data output was a demographic update. As you can see in this graphic, the computer tracked the exact number of humans residing in the surface world compared to the lower world. The lower world counter suddenly ticked up by exactly 1, while the surface world population remained static. Attached to the data was one final camera frame. It showed a human figure standing under a street lamp in the underwater city, looking up and waving at the drone lens. The face belonged to the lead AI engineer, the same man who was currently standing inside the surface control room thousands of miles away. The connection terminated permanently after that transmission. Today, those specific coordinates are marked as safe water on every official map, but sailors still avoid the area. On calm nights, an emergency beacon still rises from the deep, broadcast from a submarine that officially never existed.